This is Keith Hellwig from Cops Corrections Videos. If you like my videos, please hit the red subscribe button. I'd like to talk today about something which is affecting correctional departments and police departments across the country, and that is retaining personnel. People are quitting in droves from corrections and police work, and part of it's because of the public perception, but there are other reasons. I think one of the main reasons people leave is lack of true leadership. All too often, the people that are chosen to be leaders are chosen on the basis of some false premise, whether it's sexual, whether it's racial, regardless of what it is, and given the positions that they don't really deserve. Now, that's not to say that every minority doesn't deserve a position, because they do. I've worked with some great minorities. My last lieutenant was a young black man who was a good leader. The first black lieutenant I worked with is a man I respect immensely, Mike Claus. He went on to become an administrative captain in another institution. Now, I'm not saying I was the greatest leader there was, but I certainly wasn't the worst. But leadership can destroy a lot in an institution and a lot on a police department. Leadership sets the tone for the morale of the department and the professionalism of the department. I worked in corrections for 25 years, and basically I burned out, so I decided I'd go to a sheriff's department. Well, I'd worked part-time as a patrol deputy for this department for a number of years, and they hired me to be an assistant jail administrator, and I gladly joined. One of the reasons they said they hired me is because they wanted to get somebody from the outside that would come in there without any preset agendas. Well, you know, that sounded really good, but it turned out to be a bunch of BS, because as a lieutenant, I had to do a lot of internal investigations. Now, some of the internal investigations happened to be against, shall we say, the good old boys or the good old girls, and those investigations really went nowhere, because the good old boy system was alive and well. I ended up leaving that department, and I went back into corrections. Now, when I went back into corrections, I truly enjoyed my job. I had a good leader, and I had a lot of good leaders while I worked in corrections. Then came the last one. This man was a micromanager to the nth degree. He and I kind of butted heads right from the start, and it included stupid things, you know, like he asked me my opinion on a taser once, and I said something about it. Now, I've been a cop since 1995. I've carried tasers since 1998. And when I gave my opinion on something about the taser, his exact words were, well, Captain Hellwig, this shows your arrogance, because I have a lot more experience with the taser than you do. Well, it ended up with me being thrown on third shift, basically because he didn't like me, and he gave first shift to one of his good old boys, who happened to be a very detested captain, because he didn't lead from the front. He led from his office. And I think that happens all too often with leaderships. They have to lead from the front. They can't sit in office and dictate things and expect people to follow them unless they're willing to get out there and do them themselves. So a key component to retaining staff is having good management. Having people who know the job, people who don't let their ego interrupt with doing the job. Micromanagement has destroyed more than one department. The good old boy system has destroyed morale in more than one department. Now, the same sheriff's department that I left is basically under new management. They got a young man as a sheriff. He's doing a great job. His staff respect him. He's trying to get things a little more modernized. I don't see the good old boy system in effect as much anymore, which is a good thing. But then I look at the Department of Corrections, and they are so understaffed that they've lowered their standards to virtually nothing. When I started, you had to have at least a high school diploma. Your height and weight had to be, pretty much consistent, so you weren't some 400-pounder. They didn't have any physical requirements then, but shortly after I started, they did have physical requirements. Well, now I think the only physical requirement to be a correctional officer in the state of Wisconsin is that you're able to fasten a Velcro on your Velcro shoes. It's a shame. It's a shame, because it's a profession that people should be proud of. It's a profession people were proud of. But unfortunately, it's a profession, because of the lowering of standards, that people aren't as proud of as they used to be. Now, I still have friends that work in corrections. Some of them are supervisors, some of them are great supervisors. But then you hear about supervisors who made captain within 3 or 4 years. Now, I don't know about any cop or correctional officer out there who's going to really respect a captain that has 4 years seniority. Can you honestly say that in 4 years that person has learned how to be a true leader? I'm sorry, I just kind of doubt it. But anyways, my point is, if you want to retain people, you need to have good leadership. If you're a leader, don't be a micromanager. If you're a leader, don't lead from behind a desk. If you're a leader, don't expect your staff to do anything that you wouldn't do. Until next time, this is Keith Helwig from Cops Corrections Videos. Stay safe and watch your back.